championship history. First up, let's welcome to the cage your challenger, Patrick Delgado.
We have made it to the main event this evening, and it should be a good one. Patrick Delgado, the Ghost, coming to the cage right now. A record of 4-2, but Patrick has a ton of experience. He is the head trainer at Fearless MMA. This guy knows his stuff. Kind of a crafty veteran, Gerald, in the way of Mark Lemminger tonight.
Yeah, we'll be looking for him to use his vast amount of knowledge to play a smart game, a calculated game, and see if he can pull off a win for himself.
Taking a look at the tail of the tape from Carbon World Health for our main event.
Next up, your champion, Mark Lemminger.
It is not a stretch to say that Patrick Delgado has his fans in the house here tonight, but they don't compare to the amount of noise being made right now by the Champions fans. Mark Lemminger, they love this guy here at the Chosen Few Fighting Championships.
Yeah, definitely a hometown crowd for Mark. You know, the Chosen Few guys always come out with a big crowd, and for him it's no different. Main event, hometown, it's going to be a loud, loud fight.
Always a family fair as well. I had a chance to talk with Mark Sr. before the fight, also Mark's sister. They are all pumped up and feeling confident about Mark's chances here tonight, and they should. Lemminger, a perfect 6-0, and he usually doesn't give his opponent too much time to breathe at all. He is on guys with a quickness. We'll see if the wrestler from Johnson Creek can keep that up here tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Madison and sanctioned by the Department of Safety and Professional Services Program Director Adam Burkhalter. Your cage-side physician for this fight, Dr. Nestor Rodriguez. Your referee, the man in charge of this bout, Mr. Al Wickers. Your judges, Melody Wickers, Gabriel Sabatis, and Matt Janisic, with timekeeper, Mr. Jake Kint. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for. This is your main event of the evening. 3 rounds, 5 rounds for the welterweight Chosen Few Championship. First up, this gentleman fighting out of the Harley-Davidson of Madison, blue corner. He stands in at 5 foot 10 inches tall. He weighed in at 167 and 1/2 pounds. He represents Fearless Mixed Martial Arts, hails from Janesville, Wisconsin, in 6 bouts, has 4 victories. One of those victories comes by way of submission. Patrick the Ghost Delgado! His opponent, this man, standing across the cage and fighting out of the Coliseum Bar, red corner. He hails from Johnsons Creek, Wisconsin, and represents the Chosen Few. He stands in at 6 feet tall, weighing in at 168.6 pounds. He is undefeated, 6 bouts, 6 victories, 4 knockouts. He is your reigning, your defending, your undisputed, undefeated Chosen Few welterweight champion, Mark Lemminger.
Listen to that sold-out crowd here at the Monona Terrace for Mark Lemminger as he looks to defend his title against Patrick Delgado, and everybody loves him here with good reason. He's ranked number 2 in the state of Wisconsin. The last time we saw him was back in January when he won a title versus Brandon Suber. That match, very bloody. We'll talk a little bit about it as it goes along, but he broke his nose in that match, and we didn't get to see him in chosen few number 11. He did fight, though, in Milwaukee at the top of the card back in June and got himself a victory, so he hasn't been inactive for 9 months. He's fought recently and has fought well, and it's good to see Mark back in the chosen few cage.
Chosen few's most dangerous fighter, in my opinion, Rich. This guy has the beginnings, the makings of everything a professional fighter should have. He's got height, he's got length, he's got just, if you look at the way his body is built, his legs, his tree trunk thighs, everything is perfect with this guy athletically. He just needs to sharpen up this part of his game right here, his striking.
And everybody wants to come see him do just that. In fact, some celebrities here tonight, besides the three of us. D. Biznatch from WJJO is here in the house. So is Ron Dane, the Heisman Trophy winner, came out tonight to watch all of the action. Good stuff, as we also have Dorn View, the WBF Super Featherweight Champion of the world here. Lots of good stuff here tonight and lots of good action all night long as we see Lemminger in a spot where he seems to always be comfortable, and that's within 2 inches of his opponent. He likes being right on top of his guy.
And elbows and knees are dangerous from Lemminger, and he's been throwing them here. He caught Delgado with a big punch that put him against the cage, and now he's going to try and finish him off here in the first.
Right now just imposing his will, constant pressure against the cage, looking for this little dirty boxing, sneaking shots in there. Delgado now trying to punch back, but really just hasn't had an answer to be able to get off the cage. Just Lemminger too strong. Oh, now a reversal. He's going to go for a takedown of his own.
Now, Delgado does have a wealth of knowledge. He is the head trainer at Fearless MMA. He knows his jiu-jitsu. What does he have to do to defeat Lemminger here tonight?
Weather the storm, Rich. It's what we talked about in our open. It's what you and I talked about when you first got here tonight. Weather the storm. That's the one, I guess, chink in the armor that we've seen of Lemminger. If you can get him into that third round, he starts to gas out. When he got cut in his last fight, you saw that hurt him a little bit. Delgado has to weather the storm and do exactly what he's doing right now.
Looks like Lemminger has a cut on his right cheek right now. Nowhere near as bad as the bloody mess that we saw his face when he had a broken nose against Brandon Suber in that fight. He still doesn't know how he got that broken nose, and they've been trying to figure it out. His dad tried to figure it out. They've never been able to figure it out, but it seems like he's recovered well and is back at it.
I thought when we saw that live, Rich, I thought that we saw an accidental headbutt.
That's what I thought too, and that's what I tried to tell his dad. His dad said they don't think that's how it happened. So, not sure. I'm still going with that. I tried to convince his dad that was the case. We got replay, you know? We got kind of that kind of stuff. We could see it as now. Lemminger also has a cut over that left eye.
Yeah, right now Delgado's had a little bit of success. He had another standing elbow against the cage earlier, and he's been attacking that single leg all night and had one very brief takedown and just keeping Lemminger off balance enough to be on his heels for the past couple minutes. And now he seems to be the aggressor, just working some knees to the thighs, just trying to wear Lemminger down. And as we were saying before, weather the storm and kind of wear on Lemminger to make this fight perhaps go into the third, fourth, fifth round.
We're almost 4 minutes into this first round. Delgado doing a good job of weathering the storm so far, but now Lemminger gets the takedown that he wants and is back on him, not allowing Delgado to breathe.
Now, Delgado is not in a great position here, but what I was going to say right before that takedown, what I don't see in Delgado that I saw in Lemminger or other opponents is fear. You can tell Delgado does not fear Lemminger in the least, and he's doing what he can to impose his will the same way Lemminger is trying to do that to him.
Excellent point. Intimidation, such a factor in these bouts. We saw it earlier tonight in a couple of the bouts, but we're not seeing that right now from Patrick Delgado.
Right, Delgado earlier actually going for a standing arm lock, trying to reap that elbow across. If nothing else, to make Lemminger uncomfortable, perhaps open up that single leg he's been liking or reap the leg for another takedown. But again, he's the aggressor, pushing forward against the fence, trying to work this little arm lock and dirty boxing against Lemminger.
10 seconds left in the round. Kind of interesting that we saw Lemminger actually look up at our screen to take a look at the clock, almost like he was trying to just get to the end of round number 1. That is happening right now. He gets there. So not sure the strategy on that one, but Delgado feeling pumped up and confident after the first round. We'll come back for round number 2 here from the Monona Terrace on 57 Sports. Taking a look at the replays from round number 1, kind of interesting. Not only, Chris, does Delgado not look like he's fearful of Lemminger, he's starting to look confident.
Well, he took Lemminger's biggest punch and survived. That's going to give anybody credit. When you survive someone's best power shot, you know you can win the fight at that point. And what I loved at the end of that round, if you have a DVR, folks, rewind, what you're going to see is Delgado did some sneaky body work up against the cage. He took the fighter with the big, the muscle fighter, the fighter that's going to have that lactic acid build up. He took him and he did body work. That's going to wind you, that's going to deprive those muscles of oxygen because you're drawing those deep breaths into your lungs. It was good, sneaky body work in that clinch.
Just looking at the two fighters after one round, it looked like Lemminger took the brunt of the punishment in round number 1. He comes out bloodied already here in round number 2. The corner doing some work on him in round number 1, but one of those cuts was right above the left eye of Lemminger, and that could be problematic.
Here's what I don't like from Lemminger, and I want you to expand on this a little bit, Gerald. Every time Lemminger leaps in with that left hand, he leaps in with his chin up and his face forward. He doesn't have his kind of eyes up in that, what do you want to call it, full metal jacket position. He's got his face and his chin wide open, and Delgado's been able to land counter punches because of that.
Right, it seems all night, anytime he's closed the distance, or really any strikes he's thrown, he's been kind of upright. He could just be a little stiff in there and not used to throwing punches while being loose. Now we see him get taken down here. Delgado trying to pass, kind of stuck in half guard, but as you said, his chin's straight up, leaving him wide open to counter shots, and I think that's making him take way more damage than is necessary from the shots that Delgado has thrown.
Well, we have seen a lot of Mark Lemminger fights. This is the most trouble I believe that we have seen him in. Patrick Delgado has come in prepared tonight and is not backing down from the intimidating champion.
And I like the patience from Delgado here. He's not hurrying to do anything. He's working position, really shoving Lemminger's head against the cage, which is perfect. He's going to eventually want to try and get that leg loose, maybe work into mount, and then start throwing some elbows and punches down.
Right, still early in this fight, but one thing I did notice at the end of the last round is the body language. Delgado raised his hands at the end of the round as if he was very confident he won the round, and Lemminger walking back to his corner looking very disappointed, and what I thought was a very back and forth close round, but you can definitely see Delgado so far seemingly having more confidence in this fight.
Yeah, and his confidence continues to grow right now, while Lemminger's confidence might be a little bit shaken as he is spending the better part of the second round on his back here, as Delgado right now is the one that is controlling this fight.
And even though Lemminger hasn't taken any damage, his arms were clasped for what, about a minute and a half, 2 minutes? You're going to talk about some tired arms when he finally gets back to his feet.
And he's trying to use those arms to get back to his feet. Didn't work at first, and now Delgado with the face guard, but Lemminger back on his feet, and he took a good left hand. Spinning kick, Delgado goes down. This crowd is in a frenzy here.
Delgado looking for this guillotine, but now Lemminger's past the side control, not much there. Lemminger still got to get his head back out to mount any sort of significant offense. I think that body kick might have hurt Lemminger a little bit. He went immediately for the takedown and was still grimacing a little bit here on the ground.
Lemminger got his head out right now, trying to use that right arm to pound into the side of the head of Delgado. With side control now there, he got the elbow underneath the chin and is driving it into Delgado's throat. This crowd coming to life right now. They're sensing something from their champion. Still 90 seconds left in this second round as Lemminger has been able to turn the tables and kind of stem the tide.
Right, if he wants to steal this round, he's going to have to mount some significant offense. You know, he's been pinned against the cage on the ground, held down by Delgado. And like you said, only 90 seconds left. He's going to have to land some serious punches to sway the judges' minds to give him this round and what could possibly be a fight that has him down 2 rounds so far.
So this would be the toughest round so far of the night that I've seen to score, because neither fighter have done a ton of damage. It's really just the difference in who controlled the first half of the round to who's controlling the second half of the round. Do you like Lemminger's position because he's inside control and able to throw more punches, or did you love the fact that Delgado was in half guard before but also kept from really creating any damaged positions there? So an extremely tough round to score for any judge.
Pretty important final 30 seconds to the round right here, as sometimes that often tells the tale for judges, as they'll use that last 30 seconds of a close round to score the round and sway it one way or the other for a fighter.
And in a round like this, I think that's exactly right. If Lemminger throws a few more punches, lands a little bit more, I think he's going to take this round, and we'll see where it goes from there.
10 more seconds here. Blood everywhere right now. Lemminger looking to land a shot, but Delgado gets an elbow in as the second round comes to an end. One of our more intriguing fights of the night, and it's happening right here in our main event. Lemminger, Delgado, round 3 next on 57 Sports. Taking a look at our fighters right now as we check into the corner of Mark Lemminger, and they're trying to do some damage control as a couple cuts on the face of the champion.
And right there you saw Delgado landing those shots because Lemminger was standing straight up the way he was. Anytime Lemminger threw a punch, he was leaving his chin wide open. So that is definitely something to look for if this fight stays on its feet in the third round.
Well, you talked about it earlier. Lemminger, when he goes into these later rounds, appears to get gassed. So it's going to be important to take a look at Lemminger and how fresh he looks as his fight starts to go along.
Now, in his defense, we've only really seen that once. So we'll see if he's improved on that cardio a little bit.
That was, 9 months ago. So he's definitely, I'm sure, done some work since then. We'll see if it pays off right here against Patrick Delgado, who is giving him everything that he can take and more.
And again, what I was looking at the end of that round as well was body language. Delgado seemed to be the fresher, more excited fighter, and Lemminger again looking maybe puzzled that his wrestling wasn't having as great of effect as he used to, but there he lands a nice right hand trying to put Delgado on his heels and put his own stamp on this fight.
And I like that was an intelligent move by Lemminger there to let Delgado back up. The last thing you want to do with a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialist is jump in his guard, because that's exactly what he's expecting of you. So even though you might not be as crisp a striker, you're longer, you're heavier handed, he's landed a couple big shots so far. It was extremely intelligent in a tiring third round now for him to let him stand back up instead of blindly rushing in for a kill.
And it looks like Delgado might have opened, or has an open cut now on the inside of his left, or the left side of his nose, actually. Not getting into the eye, though, right now, as it appears, but it is starting to stream down that left nostril, and he's sniffing it up, and it's bothering him.
Well, that looked like a bridge cut a little bit, and it happened after Lemminger took control of that second round. When he took him down, we saw a little bit of blood trickle. So, yeah, we'll see how his breathing gets affected from here on out.
Yeah, he's been breathing heavy, kind of snorting. He's been pawing at it a little bit, and it's in his head a little bit, and it allows Lemminger to get a couple shots here and a couple good rights by the champion.
And we've seen a confidence shift here, Gerald. Look at Lemminger's body language now compared to the second and first round. I think he thinks it's his fight at this point.
Right, it looks like he's turned it around, much more comfortable, much more willing to let his hands go, which is what he really needs to do here. Maybe take a chance on the feet, get your energy back, catch your breath, and try to land some of these hard strikes. And I think he's starting to realize that, hey, I can stand up here and I can throw with this guy and I can have success.
Well, and at some point, you have to go back to your instincts in the gym. He's got to know, I'm bigger, stronger, and faster than this guy. I don't care what he can do to me because of that. So this is the type of confidence you're seeing out of Lemminger right now.
Lemminger using his boxing skills right now to score some points against Delgado. And now we'll use that wrestling that we've come to know and love to get a takedown and get on top of Delgado.
I think he's a little high right now for the finish, but he's definitely threatening with that head arm choke. He's going to try and use that to establish control. He's looking to sink down a little bit, close off those carotid arteries with Delgado's shoulder and his other arm. It looks like this could be pretty tight.
It's tight, but Delgado's doing the right thing. They call it answering the phone, Gerald. Explain how that stops a submission from blocking off that blood choke.
Well, what that's supposed to do is create a little space between the shoulder and that side of the carotid on the neck. But if you've got a good enough squeeze or a good enough position, the old saying is if you answer the phone, no one's going to be on the line. It's a defense that doesn't always work, but it's better than nothing. And now here we see Delgado still okay. The choke's just a little high to pose any real threat.
But you also have to know this, Rich. There's two different types of chokes. There's air chokes and blood chokes. Air chokes, a fighter can feel himself going out, and that's where you get a lot of taps from that. Blood chokes are almost instant. You feel fine, you feel fine, you feel fine, boom. The carotid stops the blood from going to the brain, and you just pass out and then wake up with a monster headache. So this, with a choke like this, Delgado might not even think he's in trouble till he's out and the referee's waking him up.
That's a very good point, and to that point, most chokes will stop the blood flow into the brains. If you hold it maybe not quite as tight but a little longer, it can stop the egress, meaning the blood leaving the brain and still work. But now we see Delgado here out of trouble. Well, not out of trouble, out of the choke, and now in the guard of Lemminger.
Well, I got to tell you, Chris Garrity, Gerald Mearshart, excellent analysis. I love listening to it. It is a pleasure working with you guys each and every time as you're breaking this action down right now. And everybody at home that's watching, I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am bringing it to you with these fine fellas. This is good stuff, and good stuff right now from Mark Lemminger, who all of a sudden, when he looked like he was in trouble in that first round, has gained control of this fight.
Well, even though there's more bad in this round for Delgado, the one good thing is he hasn't panicked yet, even when he's a lot of trouble with that choke. We're going to see now, though, how much energy he has coming out for this fourth round.
Absolutely. We'll see if the panic starts to set in as Mark Lemminger is turning the tide here in this championship fight. We go to the fourth round next on 57 Sports. Round number 3, a good one for Mark Lemminger. He landed some good blows with that right hand and then nearly choked out Delgado.
Yeah, really good top pressure there from Lemminger, trying to get that choke, and then even when he missed it, just back to guard, back to the ground and pound, really putting a stamp on that round for himself and turning the tide of the fight, in my opinion.
And we are back out at Monona Terrace for Chosen Few Fighting Championships number 12. Finally into the main event. Round number 4 we go, and what has been a very tightly contested fight between the challenger Patrick Delgado and the champion Mark Lemminger. And Lemminger and Delgado seemingly content right now after a few very close rounds. It's kind of gaining their wind back here. Both on their feet looking to strike rather than using extensive amounts of energy that we have seen through the first 3 rounds. Also seems, too, like this crowd is ready to explode at any moment as there's a highly anticipated finish here. We have seen Lemminger at the top of cards before and finish opponents off in an exciting manner. It's why the crowd is so much behind this fighter. Good right there from Lemminger. Tries to grab that leg. Delgado gets out of it quickly and nods his approval of his own work right there. You got to like that. Delgado has been more than game. Again, we've talked about his backstory and coming from Janesville, being the head trainer at Fearless MMA. This guy knows his stuff and has been a tough competitor for Lemminger. Most guys seem to be intimidated by the champion, but not Delgado, and not here today, as he brought a pretty good contingent of his own up north to Madison here. Still squaring off between the two. The Chosen Few, by the way, looking for nearly a clean sweep in these title fights. If Lemminger can pull it off, it's 4 out of 5 for the Chosen Few, Jim. Not too shabby. Lemminger's face seemingly looks like he has been in a war. We have seen that face get tattered over his last few fights. Good lead left there by the champion. Delgado still looking for an opening. Tries that overhand right. Now comes in with the left. Few kicks, few punches. Both guys, again, seemingly trying to get their win back. Nice kick there by Delgado. Nearly caught Lemminger in the side of the head. A late block. Still looking for an opening here. Delgado tries the right once again. Couple good exchanges as Delgado backs off. Lemminger looking for a setup when you see a kick like that. So many times they're just looking for an opening. Try and go in with another punch. But he didn't have a punch behind him. And uh-oh. I think Delgado just took a poke in the eye as he backs off, holding his left eye right away. And that is going to bring in Dr. Nestor Rodriguez for this one. And man, what a bad way this would be to finish. Delgado's going to have 5 minutes to try and regain himself and be able to continue. If he can't see, though, he's done.
Both fighters spending the entire fourth round on their feet so far, but a shot there that Patrick Delgado took that right now I'm not sure he could withstand.
And Delgado was building up a lot of confidence in that round. I really thought Lemminger was going to come out and impose his will, and he wasn't. Delgado did a good job just standing in front of him and trading with him, and then you got to have something like this. Eye pokes have been an extreme nuisance in this sport that we just can't seem to get rid of, and I really hope that he doesn't say something to the doctor that makes this fight end.
Right, you hate to see a fight end like this. Hopefully he's okay. Just take a minute, get the vision back, and get this thing back rolling.
And he's got 5 minutes, so hopefully Nestor is just telling him, take 5. We'll see if you can see in 5 minutes. Take your time, because the minute or second a fighter says, I can't see, the refs is going to just call it off. It's over. So what you want to do is just say, give me a minute. Let me wipe the eye. If the doc sees fit, he'll throw some solution in there, whatever he needs to do. But if Delgado at any point here says, I can't see, and it's not looking good.
So right now we're at about 2 minutes or so into this stoppage here. What does this do for both fighters now who are fighting at such an intense level to all of a sudden have to stop like this?
Well, for Lemminger, it's going to help. This is a break.
Okay.
For Delgado, he's worried about his vision at this point. Now, Gerald's going to be able to put a little bit more on top of this, because I've seen a few of his fights stop for purposes like this, mostly groin shots. But what does it feel like for each fighter when you're on either side of the cage when a stoppage like this?
Well, it'll maybe take a second to get back into the flow of the fight. When you're in there throwing in those exchanges like they have been this whole round, they've just been on the feet going at it. Might take a second or two to get back into the swing of things, but like you said, it's definitely a rest for Lemminger. Somewhat of a rest for Delgado, but again, he's worried about his vision, and he's just trying to get that eyesight back, and it'll be a small hurdle, nothing major, but he'll have to get over, the fact that he's going to be worried about Lemminger's outstretched fingers, and he's going to have to get back in there and be comfortable and kind of overcome that in the back of his mind.
Now, I'm going to have to go over and talk to Adam, and I'm going to do that in a second here. Rules check. If the fight ends now, they might go to the scorecards.
See, that's what I was wondering too, yeah.
So I'm going to go check. You guys, it looks, well, hold on. It looks like Nestor doesn't want him to go yet. I'm going to go check with our commissioner and see what happens if this fight gets stopped now. I'll be right back.
Yeah, very interesting. I was wondering the same thing, as, again, those rules can vary from state to state. And so Adam right now is coming, it looks like, into the ring. Is this going to be a stoppage then?
Well, he's going to tell Nestor, he's going to go talk to Nestor, most likely. He's talking to Al kind of secondhand what Nestor was saying. But I just conferred with our program director, Adam Burkhalter, that, and it looks like Nestor's going to stop him from fighting here. I think this one's over. And if it does happen, we go to the scorecards the way it is right now. Once the fight passes the halfway mark, the rules, go to the scorecards, and then the fight gets judged.
Well, let's talk about what we think those scorecards might contain. The first round, I think Delgado had it. Is that the general consensus?
I would say yes, although when a fighter like Lemminger lands shots and they're as powerful as they are, judges see that more than the little work that Delgado does. And by little work, I don't mean less, I mean just not as powerful. Those shots reign a little bit truer in judges' minds. And I'll give you an example. Anybody that watched a Carlos Condit versus Robbie Lawler fight in the UFC, Robbie Lawler ended up winning the fight. And if you looked at the stats, the only part of that stat box that he let in was significant strikes landed. But in total strikes, I think there was over 100 more by Carlos Condit landed. But what the judges saw were the big power shots that had Carlos kind of turning around and whipping around from the head. Now, if I'm judging that fight, I thought Carlos should have been the welterweight champion at that point. But judges see things differently. So this one's a tough one to call. I usually am the first guy to throw up my prediction. I have no idea how the judges are going to score this fight.
Right, this is a really close fight, especially to be stopped now. But in MMA, more than any other combat sport, boxing, anything else, there's definitely an ooh and ah factor. The bigger shots definitely.
Yeah, we've hit that 5-minute mark, and that is it. Patrick Delgado cannot continue. The eye poke causes him to stop the fight, which means we are going to go to the scorecards. We are all in agreement. We think that this is too close to call. We'll see what the judges have to say as we'll get the official announcement from Chris Garrity. Is Mark Lemminger still the champ? We'll find out when we get back to the Chosen Few Fighting Championships number 12 on 57 Sports. Yeah, we are back, and Mark Lemminger and Patrick Delgado have to stop the fight in the 4th round. Delgado got poked in the eye. It means that we're going to go to the scorecards, and Gerald, at this point, it's anybody's guess.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a toss-up. I kind of saw the first 2 rounds going to Delgado. The 2nd round, maybe even Lemminger could have stole it. 3rd round, definitely Lemminger had it, and how they're going to score this round, who knows? They were both on the feet.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Back and forth, so we'll take a look and see.
I want to explain what's going on here, and then I want you to give these warriors a big round of applause. So we had an accidental eye poke. Unfortunately, Patrick Delgado is unable to continue. The doctor would not let him continue. It is not a decision of his. He is a warrior, and that's why he is in here. But unfortunately, due to the damage to his eye, he is unable to continue. So, because it was an accidental foul and we have passed the halfway mark, we go to the judges' scorecards for a split decision. Judge Wicker scores the bout 29-28 Delgado. Judge Janicek scores the bout 29-28 Lemminger. Judge Sabetis scores the bout 29-28 in favor of your winner by split decision. And still chosen few champion, Mark Lemminger.
Got to give it up to Chris Garrity. He did a great job on his call. The suspense right down to that final nanosecond. Used his voice properly to get it all in there. It brings the crowd to their feet and caps off a great night of fights. Boy, you hate to have to finish a championship fight that way, but it was all action all night long.
We love you. Thank you for supporting your local mixed martial arts. If you guys want to have a drink and hang out with some of the fighters and coaches, come see us at the Coliseum Bar. If not, drive safe. Have a great night.
All right, we will go ahead and put a wraps on our night here tonight, as we'll also hear from the champion, Mark Lemminger, right now as he defends his welterweight title.
All right, I normally don't like to talk when the crowd's leaving because they're not listening, but we got a few fans here, right? All right, so I'm here with your champion. First, I want to talk about the fight, and then we'll get to your sponsor. So, nobody wants a fight to end that way, not even the guy who wins. Tell me a little bit about the eye poke. What happened?
I don't know, man. I think I got a little tired out there. I don't know if I had too much of a weight cut. He's a great competitor, man. I My hat goes off to him. He's tough.
Well, it looks like your confidence went round to round depending on how you finished the round before. You looked, especially at the end of that second round, a little disappointed, but then in the third round you came back and really kind of imposed your will there. So coming into the fourth, we saw a confident fighter. Did you really think you had it at that point?
Well, he threw me off a little bit. I was expecting him to be heavy on the wrestling, so I was kind of anticipating a shot. And in doing so, I wasn't letting my hands go the way I should have. So it took a little adjusting, you know, to figure out how to fight him.
Well, I know you have a lot of people supporting you and you want to give thanks, so I'm going to hand you the microphone. First, I want everybody to give you a big round of applause. Your champion, Mark Lemminger. Mark, here you go.
I want to thank all my fans that came out tonight. This is awesome, a sold-out show like this. I thank my family. They're always there helping me. My girlfriend, she cooks for me every night. I thank my mom, my dad.
Well, Chosen Few 12 ended with a heck of a fight. It maybe didn't please some people, but in the end, it ends up being Mark Lemminger who retains his title, the welterweight 170-pound title. And talk about that fight a little bit. You know, obviously a fight that ended with an incidental eye poke that ended the fight against Patrick Delgado.
Yeah, it's unfortunate how it ended. But I went out there and I guess I could have done some things a little different, but you live and you learn, and I'll be better next time.
Well, you know, I guess, you know, it does end up going to a split decision because it went more than halfway, but do you look at that fight, I mean, you had to have said, man, it's up and down, it's, you know, I have the momentum, Patrick has the momentum. Is it as close as it looked?
Yeah, you know, I didn't expect him to fight the way he did. I was anticipating him to be real heavy on the wrestling and a lot of shots. So it kind of threw me off a little bit. It took me a while to adjust and figure out what I needed to do. It was a good learning experience, and that's the way I got to look at it, you know.
Well, we just got done talking about how close of the fight that was, and, you know, in round 3, you swept the leg of Patrick Delgado. He fell down, but you gave him the chance to get back up, and we know you guys know each other well. So what does that say about your friendship in the ring?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it says much about the friendship. He's a great guy, real nice guy. But I did that because I thought I was going to get the better of him on our feet. Okay. So I wanted to fight on the feet. I wanted to land a hard shot and hurt him. I wasn't able to. You know, the eye poke happened before that was able to happen.
So it was more strategic than anything, but still you do end up winning the title or keeping the title in that split decision. So congratulations on that. The welterweight champ remains Mark Lemminger at Chosen Few 12.